Is this your next mayor? Mitzie Hunter is here to join us today to talk about why Mitzie.
Hi, Lee. Thanks for having me here. It's wonderful to be in this beautiful and inspiring space.
It's wonderful. It's really great. Thank you so much. It's La Hortica House at 1365 Gerrard Street East.
It's what makes Toronto, Toronto, right? We have the best culture, the best food, and the best people.
Absolutely, Mitzi, you hit it right on the head. It's a part of why I wanted to interview you, right? Like, we have a mayoral race. It's going to be one of the most important races that's happened in a long time. You, as a former cabinet minister who has, outlasted so many people, you have Scarborough who voted you in time and time again. Mm-hmm. Tell me, why now? Why mayor?
Well, first of all, I'm, someone who has grown up in the city, in Scarborough, and I just have had the honor to serve for the last 10 years my constituents. I've won 4 straight elections as the MPP for Scarborough, including 2 very tough ones in 2018 and 2022 for our provincial Liberals. And, I love my community. I love Scarborough very, very much. I'm being encouraged by my residents. I was just at Cobb's Bakery just on my way over here, and just random customers coming in, encouraging me. They recognize that I've been a champion for Scarborough and I can be a champion for Toronto. And that's why I'm running. It's to make this city the best that it can be. I believe that we're at a point, the city could go off a cliff, but we could also have a turning point and make sure that our city is set up for a successful future. So that's why I'm running. It's to really bring the capability of championing the city and setting priorities that will serve the people of our city for the years to come.
Yeah.
I want a city that works for everyone.
I totally know that about you. I know that even being in your riding, that your constituents have really recognized what you bring to the table. You've been a strong advocate for Scarborough. You've really talked about funding, like in your role as a provincial member, how to make the numbers work, how to support the hospitals, how to make sure that people that are in your riding are represented. And I can see that that's something that you'll bring out as a champion for the city.
Yeah, first of all, when I was first elected, very quickly I realized that Scarborough needed more investments when it comes to the healthcare services. Our hospitals are some of the oldest hospitals in the province. Yeah. And so together with my other Liberal colleagues, we came up with a plan, and we pushed our own government to make those investments in this, and created, frankly, the Scarborough Health Network, which came out of a panel recommendation. And then it was about building a new hospital. And we set aside $1.1 billion for a brand new hospital in Scarborough. Now, that has grown to be $1.5 billion. It's in the Treasury. It's already there. So my focus is, how do we make our community better? It could be big things like a hospital, or even small things like a playground. One of my local elementary schools didn't have a playground for the children. They were actually playing on concrete that was fenced around to keep them safe, of course, inside that. But it's not what we should do. No. Our students and our children deserve more than that. And I saw that. And so worked with the school board and the school and supporters in the community to build a playground. Every time I go by that playground and I see, it's actually in the shape of a castle. It's kind of like this beautiful space here. And I see the children in our neighborhood playing there. I know that that's how you make a difference. It's by doing, it's by acting, not just by talking about it.
Well, that's what we need. Toronto definitely needs someone who is a doer, right? So what I wanted to ask you was, okay, Toronto, what's the good, what's the bad, and what's the ugly?
Yeah, and what I see in our city is that we've come through a really rough time in terms of the pandemic. And you can kind of see it when you're walking around. There's, increased visible homelessness in our streets. There's, fear on our transit system right now because of so many violent incidences that have occurred. And, that's what I want to make sure that we address, that we have a city that works for everyone. Public safety is first and foremost, because you have to feel safe in your city. You have to be able to ride the TTC, get around to work and to school and to other places that you have to go. And who does it affect the most when people don't feel safe? It's people who are vulnerable or on low income or women or students. And so we've got to take those steps. I have a multi-pronged plan to make our TTC transit system safe. Okay. And that starts with pairing our transit safety officers together with social workers who are trained in responsiveness for vulnerable people and connecting them to the services and the supports that exist within the community that are not available on the TTC. And that's something that I would start right away. I would also, in fact, utilize the strength of community and have transit ambassadors around our stations. And, we would draw that from the local community, maybe start with a safety blitz and a safety audit to make sure that people know where the vulnerable points are and we can address those and make sure our transit stations are as safe as they can be. Totally. And, there are longer term initiatives that we can do for the TTC. We have to support the employees. They also have to feel safe as well as they go to work. And so that's one of my key priorities, is to make sure the TTC is safe. And of course, let's make sure that our cell phone system works. That's not a new thing, that we've been calling on that. So let's make sure that people can stay connected when they're riding the transit system. I would also think that affordability is really on the top of mind for many individuals. It's young people, but it's also people who are more elderly as well. They need affordable places to live in our city. I recently visited a temporary shelter, in fact, in Scarborough. 50% of the people who were there were over the age of 50 at a time when they should be really enjoying their latter years. They were precariously housed and didn't have permanent housing. So we need more housing in our city. Yeah. I know that you relate to that as a realtor. I know. And you see that need and that challenge. And that's something that I would address. I actually, one of the experiences that I bring is an understanding of affordable housing and the housing system. I worked at Toronto Community Housing and, worked with the city shelter support and housing, as well as with the city manager and councillors to address that. So I really bring that understanding of City Hall, as well as the broader community through my work at CivicAction. I'm sure, you know that as well.
No, I mean, you were the CEO of CivicAction, which I am a member of, or diversity fellow as well. And I think that was really instrumental in terms of bringing Torontonians, Canadians, Ontarians to champion local issues and really make it tangible. And you were at the head of that.
Yes.
And I'm sure you saw firsthand the power of that. Even I remember meeting you when, they now, now I've totally had a brain fart. I apologize because I know this. Borrowell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why my brain is totally
so Andrew Graham and Eva Wong, who were, so I was the chair of the Emerging Leaders Network for 7 years, ELN, along with Donna Lindell. And we actually really worked on many initiatives and had many incredible people like Andrew and Eva come through that part of CivicAction. It's so incredible. Well, it's about people coming together to make our city great. And that's one of the things that I do is I bring people together, I bring community together and figure out what we can do to solve these big challenges. And that's what I want to do at Toronto City Hall, is bring our council together with a focus. I've said and very clearly that I would not use the strong mayor's power because I believe in consensus. I believe that we can work together, and that's how you get things done, because you can't just impose your decisions on the council. What about the execution of it and the fulfillment of those decisions? You want everybody on side and working together in common cause to make our city work for everyone.
No, and I think that's really true, right? Like, and I think that having been a member of provincial parliament, being a cabinet minister, working on really what I would think is one of the largest files next to healthcare of education, and recognizing, yes, on a very local level, bringing parks, like bringing a viable playground to a school enhances local life. It changes how people see themselves instead of being fenced in.
Yeah. In fact, it's very, very critical. As a former minister of education, I know that play and free play is really important to childhood development. And so, when I championed getting that park, that playground built at the school, I was aware that the children that were coming to that school came from Danzig.
Yeah.
And Danzig had one of the most disturbing mass shootings in Toronto's history. 2 young people were shot and killed. Cheyenne Charles and Joshua Yasay. And
say their name.
Yeah. So I was aware of that. That was in the back of my mind as we were looking to get this project off the ground, because these children deserve to play when they were at school. They deserve to feel safe. And, I don't want our young people to have any scarring effect as a result of any violent incidences. And so, I've also been a long supporter of community safety from that perspective in terms of ending gun violence, by making it a public health issue, by making sure that we get to the root causes of those situations before they occur.
Public safety. Mm-hmm. You mentioned this with TTC and having a multi-pronged approach, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I believe that Toronto is a safe city. We have a city that's vibrant and that's livable, but we got to make sure that it stays that way. And, what I'm talking about with my transit safety plan, by making gun violence a public health issue and investing in our communities and in young people, those are the things that we need to do to keep our city as a safe city. The former chief of police once said, you cannot arrest your way out of incidences of gun violence. You have to do more. And that's what I'm focused on, is the doing more part, and making sure that we have a city that works really for everyone and that's safe, that people can afford to live here, and also that there are great jobs in our economy as well.
I think also one of the other things that you bring to the table is, as the former CAO, Chief Administration Officer of the Toronto Community Housing, and also the role that you had on Treasury, a Parliament Secretary, right? Did I get that right?
So I was the Associate Finance Minister.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Worked on that pension plan, which led to the expansion of CPP. So future retirees in Canada will have better pension benefit because of the work that we did on the ORPP.
Yeah. Well, I think that, that certainly is important and impacts people, right? Because on a municipal race where so many touch points are very immediate, right? Like from the moment you open your door, from the moment that you walk out on the street, all those pieces are touched by municipalities, right? And the choices that are made by councillors and the mayor. I wanted to ask you, in terms of sort of your, like a quote, right? Of something that kind of guides you, or a guiding principle, what would that be?
Yes, we can. Barack Obama.
Yes, we can. I love it.
Yes, we can. And it's time that we do this, Toronto. So, yeah. Thank you.
Mitzie, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and creating this beautiful space for us to have a conversation about our beautiful city. Thank you.
Well, it's important. People need to know why they need to vote,
Yes.
right? And they need to know who they need to vote for and what that person is how that person is going to actually make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to hold this space so that we could actually have a conversation about why you.
Yeah.
Why should you be the next mayor?
Absolutely. Well, I bring the experience. And after 10 years of being elected in Scarborough, I know that will benefit the rest of our city. We need a city that works for everyone. The people who are in my community want to feel like they are a valued part of the whole city. And that's what I do. I'm a unifier. I bring people together, and I believe in consensus. So, I also walk the talk and I take action. I don't just see problems and talk about them. I actually provide solutions and fix them.
Well, I know I know you have so much on the go, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come.
Yeah.
And, people are going to get to see who is Mitzie Hunter.
Yeah. Toronto needs a champion. And I know I will be that champion on behalf of our city and on behalf of everyone who lives here. Yeah.
For sure.
Because I represent the city. I grew up here.
No, absolutely.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Quick question. Tea or coffee?
Well, tea, of course. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.